Hello, welcome to the Emperors Armoury channel. So I want to give a quick update about the main project that this channel is focused on so far, which is an RTS game called The Great War, which is about World War One. And I want to give a bit of a progress report, but not quite a progress report. It's more like actually the fact that the game has so multiple times across the duration of the production of this game. We've had to expand, or not had to, but the game has expanded, and multiple times over it's had to contract. Um, it's the first time I've ever attempted any project that is of this scale, and it's been very difficult for myself, and it turns out even very large and very experienced developers, it's very difficult to predict how large a project is going to be. And I don't have a blank check of like I can just work on this forever. Some studios in the past, like Age of Empires 2, Ensemble Studios, they had a lot of freedom in just being able to just pursue exactly what they wanted to produce, no matter how long it took. They had a huge amount of freedom. I don't have the time or the resources to carry on forever on this. So I'm at the point where I'm going to have to constrict or to contract the project so that I can finish something. Because if I don't contract what the current plan is, then I'm not going to be able to release anything. And I would like to be able to produce something out of all the hard work that has gone into the game so far, both with myself and the team. So the plan is, in fact, if you guys are familiar at all with Age of Empires 2 and the pro gaming community with Age of Empires 2, you might know this guy here. This is Leary. He's an Austrian pro player. He's possibly top 3, almost definitely top 5. He's come close to being number 1 on multiple occasions. He's always getting pipped at the post. But anyway, so this is Leary. And the thing that Leary is particularly well known for is his micromanagement, particularly of ranged units. Maybe it's archers, maybe it's skirmishers, maybe it's cav archers, sometimes also scouts, but he is particularly well known for his micromanagement. He's also actually extremely good at his early economy and a rapid growth of his early economy. But anyways, he's well known for his micromanagement of units, small units. And so my idea is in fact that thing that he's doing, where he's micromanaging small groups of units, he's obviously playing Age of Empires 2, which is a full RTS game and one of the top RTS games in the genre. But he has focused on getting good at specifically one feature, micromanagement of relatively small squad sizes. And I reckon actually it's possible to build an entire game out of just exactly that feature. And by focusing on just exactly that feature of a full RTS game, it shrinks the full scale of the project down to a really small size, that it can basically create an entire mini game out of just micromanaging small groups of units on a piece of landscape and battling it out against enemies and interacting with the terrain. And it's actually a great piece of inspiration. So back in the 90s, there was a studio called Sensible Software, and they were a very interesting team. They actually were a cutting edge team who were ahead of their time. And one of the things that they produced is they were the first time that any game ever had a tech tree. And the game was called, I can't remember what it was called. I'll put the name up on the screen. But whatever the game was called, that was the first game ever to have a tech tree. So now we think of tech trees as like they're fairly commonplace. Well, this team, Sensible Studios, they were the first game to ever put a tech tree in a video game. And they built that game, and then they went on to build a couple of other games. And one of the particularly interesting ones that they produced that was a very popular game for its time is this game here. This is called Cannon Fodder. And what you'll see in Cannon Fodder is that, okay, you have some nice intro graphics for the time, I suppose. So yeah, here you've got a map, and the agents, or the units, the little soldiers, they're being controlled to move around the map. And in this particular mission, there's only 3 of them. I think it can go up to 6. And they're being controlled and micromanaged all the way around the map. And they're battling it out each time that they come up to enemies, or they're collecting ammunition, or they've got different types of weapons that they can use. It's like really tight micromanagement around this map that they've got. And that game, Cannon Fodder, is its whole own entire game. Like, it's not like a bit of something else, it's its own entire game. By modern standards, we would call it a mini game. I suppose it's quite large for being just like a mini game, but it's we would consider it like a mini game. We wouldn't think of it as like being its full own standalone thing. But it's still very enjoyable. You can purchase this for like £1.50 or something, or you can play it online for free. It's very easy to get hold of. Although if you do that, I should warn you that the game is brutally difficult to play. It's so difficult that it's basically not enjoyable, like the difficulty level. It's fine to play for like a couple of minutes, but then like once you start getting through the levels a little bit, they're just stupidly difficult, and so it's a bit of a sad thing that the game balance is off. But the point that I'm trying to get at here is that basically these guys have taken a feature of gaming, which in this case is micromanagement of small units, like what Leary does, and they've turned it into an entire game, and it's a very fun standalone game, aside from the fact that it's brutally difficult to play. But yeah, it's its own standalone thing. So this is going to be my approach going forward with the Great War, is that rather than attempting to finish the entire game, and in fact, actually, the intention was never to finish the entire game. The intention was first to build a prototype, which was just all the core mechanics, and then to polish those core mechanics up to the point of a demo. And then once the demo was finished, put out the demo, and the demo would just be like a small snippet of what the whole game could potentially be. And then take it from there, see how the community like it. Well, I've had to shrink it down even further. So rather than trying to produce even a prototype of the entire game, instead I'm going to try now to produce a demo of something that is a bit like Cannon Fodder, but using the code and using the game that we've already got built up to this point with the Great War. Where the Great War is at right now is that we've got graphics rendering inside the game. We've got, because we're building it all from scratch, there's no game engines, there's no nothing, it's all straight from scratch in C++ and the SFML library. So it's really intensive to build what we're building. So there's a lot of work has gone into it. And what is there so far is there's a map, there's trees and obstacles on the map, we can place agents on the map, but they currently there's no ability to control them or to pathfind around with them. The pathfinding in itself is a massive task, and I've been smashing away at it for absolutely ages, and it's probably about halfway through. And once it's done, once the pathfinding is finished, integrating the pathfinding solution into the game to be able to control units around is going to be quite a task as well. But there's only a few steps, although they are very large steps, there's only a few more steps to go before I could actually produce something that is a bit like a modern, nicely polished, not too difficult version of Cannon Fodder, but within our game's context of the Great War. So that's what the game plan is. I don't quite know how long it's going to take, because I've got a couple of other projects there on the boil. Some of them are related to my stuff, some of them are related to possible professional stuff, possibly, because this isn't professional, but this is just me smashing away at a game. But yeah, I don't know how long it will take to produce this Cannon Fodder type micromanagement type of mini game. Potentially by the end of the year, but I don't think putting a time limit on it is such a good idea. But it's a milestone, is what I should say. So that's the aim now, with the Emperors Armoury, with myself, who's on the team. Potentially one of the other guys is going to end up coming back to the team, and so it'll be two of us, potentially. But regardless, that's where I'm at, and I wanted to show you guys this because I haven't put out a video in a while. I'm working like crazy, I'm doing all sorts of stuff, I'm working very hard at lots of very interesting things, but they generally don't really have anything to show for them. It's mostly just sort of bits and pieces of lots of things, and when they come together, then I'll have something very interesting to show. But there's not really much to show at the minute. Anyway, alright, there we go. There's a video. Thank you very much. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Alright, bye-bye.